Hey, what's going on? This is Dennis Heenan from FatBurningNation.com, and I have got my good friend Rick Kaselj here today to talk to us a little bit about back pain. Now, being an athlete, I went through plenty of back problems in my career, and now that I've transitioned into working, on my computer quite a bit, and then all my workouts being athletic-based workouts, I still experience back pain. Now I'm going to have Rick share a little bit today about how certain ways that you can fix that very easily by just spending 5 to 10 minutes. So Rick, I'll let you take it away. And just...
So I mean, the one thing that would get people to focus on is looking at mobility and looking at mobility in your mid-back and in your hips. And the reason why is if we look at your back, when there's stress above and below your back, it ends up, well, if there's stiffness above and below your back, it ends up putting more stress on your back. And looking at how your body ends up moving, if there are areas above and below that are stiff, the place in the middle ends up taking all the stress, and a lot of times that's the weakest part, which ends up being the back. So if we can loosen up the mid-back, if we can loosen up the hips, what that ends up doing is decreasing the stress on the back. So that allows the back to kind of heal and less likely to injure or re-injure that back. So that's something that I would end up focusing in on with whatever you're doing, your warm-up, your cool-down, or with your stretch routine, whatever you're doing. The other thing is, if you end up doing a lot of sitting and driving, is trying to decompress the spine. So if you end up sitting, it puts 40% more stress on your low back, sitting compared to standing. So with time, that pressure ends up building more and more in that back. So we want to offload that pressure of the back and the back. And how we can do that if you sit a lot is in a sitting position, just reaching for the sky, reaching as high as you can for 2 seconds, and then relaxing, and then reaching again for 2 seconds. You can do that in sitting, but it's even better if you kind of get out of your chair, stand, and reach for the sky and try to offload the spine. If you're in a gym setting, if you have some type of pull-up bar, what the next step is to grab the pull-up bar and then sink your hips down so you end up getting even more traction. Now the key thing is just to go for like 2 seconds, 2 or 3 seconds, and start off with like 5 repetitions. Don't go crazy and hang for like 15 minutes or do 50 repetitions, because there's a risk of flaring things up. So something might be good, but doing too much of it leads it to be irritating things. So if it feels good doing like 5 repetitions for 2 or 3 seconds each, then that's a sign that it's something that you should incorporate. And it's more important to incorporate that more often throughout your day, as opposed to doing 15 minutes or 50 reps of it all at once. So those would be the 2 things that I would do if you're going hard but you end up having to sit all day.
Now, a lot of the workouts I create, if not all, my readers know, all of them are super intense, very athletic based.
Yeah.
And a lot of times as athletes, we kind of just jump into the workout. We don't really pay attention to the warm-up or the cool-down after the workout. What would you suggest for warming up or cooling down? Which one's more important? Which one do you put emphasis on? What can we do for that?
That's a good question. I put more emphasis on the warm-up and try to look at it more like a dynamic warm-up. So a lot of my stuff ends up being like a body weight warm-up, and it could just be like body weight air squats, push-ups, plank movements, and it ends up serving multiple things. We want to we want to get our mind into what we're doing. So we might be thinking about work, but if we do a warm-up, it kind of shifts us to the workout, so we can focus in on the workout and get better results. So you're not like a fitness zombie just kind of going through the movements, but you're not really into it, so you can't get that intensity and get the results you want. It ends up kind of waking up the muscles, it kind of lubricates the joints, it helps stretch out the muscles dynamically. So I like the warm-up, the dynamic warm-up, and it doesn't need to be crazy. Like, depending on what kind of training you're doing, it could end up being like, if you're doing a circuit like 5 or 6 times, your first time that you go through it, you might end up going through it lightly, where you're kind of focusing in on technique, focusing in on full range of motion, kind of reviewing how to do the movement fully in your head, and then as you go through the set or the reps, you're increasing the intensity.
So Rick has an incredible product that is Fix Your Back Pain, or Fix My Back Pain is what it's called. And I'm going to let him explain a little bit about what it is. Now, this would have been a lifesaver for me when I played college basketball. I probably had 3 or 4 back injuries that this would have been a huge help for. So why don't you tell us just a little bit about that?
So what it is Fix My Back Pain, so it helps you overcome your back pain, especially for someone that's active. So what my focus is to kind of get you back to pain-free workout. And what I end up seeing, and a mistake that I used to make when I worked in the clinic with lots of people, was all the focus would end up being on a stretching and strengthening, and that didn't work. And what I found is I kind of needed to set the stage for my clients' backs to heal and for my back to heal. And so now what I do is I do it in 3 steps. Step 1 is I start reshaping the back from a painful back to a pain-free back, focusing in on inside of the joint. So trying to set things internally, like focusing on hydration, eating the right foods. That all helps when it comes to recovering from back pain. The second thing is reshaping that back from the outside, doing things on the outside that are going to help it heal and recovery. And then third is doing injury-specific exercises for the back pain, depending on what it is. So a lot of times people will just have back pain, they'll do whatever exercise for that back pain. That isn't right. Depending on what type of injury you have, there's injury-specific exercises you need to do for that injury. So that's what Fix My Back Pain is. And the really cool thing is just to plug into your workout. So it's not going to be an hour or 2 hours long, and that's all you do. And you can't do Dennis's program. It's a lot of times 5 or 10 minutes that we plug in before your program, like Dennis's, or 5 or 10 minutes that we plug in after your program.
That's a perfect solution. I mean, I know I love the saying, get back to the pain-free workouts. I love the sound of that. Yeah. I know you guys would love the sound of that. And again, with the workouts we go through, it's anywhere from 20 to 25 minutes, and adding this in would keep them still under 30 minutes, which is what we want to do. So this is, again, Rick Kaselj with Fix My Back Pain. And there's a link right below this video that you can get a ton of information about this product. I highly recommend you check it out. So again, this is Dennis Heenan from FatBurningNation.com, and I thank you for watching.
Thank you.